I'm tired of Facebook. I'm tired of all the negativity. I'm leaving. You can go. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me oh so happy. But you know what else makes me happy? It's to fire off episode number 94 of the Promo Upfront podcast as we inch closer to that century mark. I'm one of your co-hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, let's call him today the Knucklehead of naming rights, the one and only Kirby Hassam. And Kirby, how the heck are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Knucklehead feels right. Just running around,
that's my daily moniker for myself. So.
Yeah, no, I think that we always say that busy's overused, but there are just times where it fluctuates like this, and we're like this right now, and hopefully that's going to lead to some good things. How about you, bud?
Good. Same thing. We're again, like you, we've talked about this 1,000 times on the podcast, whatever podcast has been on. We don't like the term busy, so maybe we should invent a new term. Let's call it we're actively challenged right now. Activity challenge.
Yeah, right. I'll buy that.
So, but I was thinking it might be April, and today when this drops, Kirby, it's Earth Day, right?
Yep.
But what's right around the corner? April 22nd is today, the day this drops. What's right around the corner, Kirby? Your favorite time of year? That'd be summertime.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, summertime sounds good.
As you pretend to know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, it's summertime, Kirby. And, I don't know about you, but when I think of summer, I think of four things and four things only. Okay.
Okay.
Warm weather, right? Barbecues. Always got to have a barbecue. Beaches. And patriotic pencils from our good friends over at Shipenko. Those are the four things I think about and think about alone. I mean, let's face it. If you blow off some fireworks to celebrate the birth of this great nation, that's kind of expected and frankly unsafe. I think we know that. Maybe it's time you and your clients celebrate Independence Day with thoughtful, intentional, and cost-effective promotional pencils from Shipenko. I've got two of them in my hand right here. This is the Patriotic Stars and Stripes. You can see it. It's got a Stars and Stripes flag on it. Big white imprint area. You can see that. And then also the patriotic red, white, and blue. I love how that just goes down the entire barrel of the pencil. It's great stuff. Kirby, I know you not only love America, but you love Shipenko as well.
I do. And at the end of the day, it's a quality product. And I think all of our customers are looking for an affordable way to, celebrate holidays, celebrate their employees, celebrate their business. And I think Shipenko's got a great product line. And certainly those are a big part of it.
They do, and it's unexpected, right? No one expects that, and that's kind of a little bit of surprise and delight, something I know you believe in. With Independence Day right around the corner, now is the time to talk to your clients about these beautiful, amazing, in-stock and cost-effective writing instruments for Shipenko. Great for everything. Celebrations, community events happening this summer, historic sites or museums you might have in your town, election season's coming up, very cost-effective promotional vehicles to get your clients' message across. Yep. And if that weren't good enough, and quite frankly, that should be good enough. When you put the code Shipenko22 on your next order, Shipenko will hook you up. Or you can simply email Alex Moltz directly at alex@shipenko.com, and he'll hook you up with some random samples and some free goods. Can't go wrong there. So head over to shipenko.com. Get those patriotic pencil in orders in early, in, as I say the word in 500 times. In. Get them in. All right, Kirby, I've got the upfront section of the podcast today and have a couple of topics, and I didn't know which direction to go. Do you want me to go left or right today?
Right.
All right, you conservative fool. You. Let's go right. I'm kidding. Thank you for having the courage to do this podcast, Kirby. I haven't thanked you for that in a while, but thank you. So I don't know if you saw this. Gap and Old Navy are joining the promo industry through a partnership with our good pals over at Vantage. Ira Neiman. Have you heard this?
No, I hadn't heard this.
Read about this on the PPAI website. Try to always give credit where we lift our topics when we can. So it's really only two products. It looks like right now it's a unisex Old Navy hoodie and a Gap brand 100% cotton T-shirt, classic T-shirt. Looking at the press release, they're trying to capitalize on the culture of comfort at work. Obviously, the pandemic push people home. People dress like me in a t-shirt. You know,
Right.
you're in a t-shirt with a pullover. We're not ready for prime time today, exactly, are we? But it's interesting. What I found interesting about this, and we've talked about a lot of high-end brands entering promo and all this. These don't strike me as high-end brands. That's not to mock the brand. It's just not a
Yeah, it's
brand.
not what they are.
I don't think people go, I have to have an Old Navy branded X, right? Is this something clients really want? And that's kind of the question I wanted to ask you as a distributor.
Yeah, I think it depends on the client, right? Like, and I know that's kind of a crappy answer, but it's true. I think, like, if you're talking about me, like, and probably you and I's demographic, then yeah, probably Old Navy isn't a big thing. But I think maybe my daughter's age might think the Gap or Old Navy might actually have some relevance. And really, the first thing that popped in my head was stock. I think one of the challenges with brands right now is they're sourcing, you know, to retail first, which good for them. But if you're going to bring it in, and I hope that Vantage has that all figured out, boy, don't bring it in and then not be able to source it. That would be my only concern about it. And it was literally the first thing that popped into my head. I'm like, okay, great. There's a Gap t-shirt, but can I get it? And so if you can, I think there is value to it for a certain client for sure.
Kirby, as you answer that, I wanted to give you a hug and give you a promotional pencil because that is a great answer. That is a fantastic answer. Agreed. I don't think this is a brand clients are clamoring for. We used to get in our industry all the time. When are you guys going to get Under Armour? You remember that for years. Can we get Under Armour? I don't think people are saying, can I get Gap? Or, yeah, there you go. I didn't even realize that. Kirby's wearing an old or a Under Armour pullover right now. Anyway, I'm so wrapped up in my own thoughts and my own insecurities, I didn't even notice. So, but you know, people, I don't think people are saying, I want Gap. And I really don't think they're saying Old Navy, which is kind of the Gap. It's the bargain brand for Gap, right? Mm-hmm. However, I think you hit on something exactly what Vantage, I think, is doing. And Ira Neiman's even smarter than you and I combined. Sure. There's no question there. But companies are, you know, mills are stocking retail first. It's more profitable for them. Yep. And so if we can tap into that to get more apparel and as a byproduct, get a brand that people at the very least know, it may not scream elegance. It may not scream anything other than that's a good quality, basic comfort piece of apparel, comfort, whatever. I think it's a good thing. So I think you're going to see a lot more of this, to be honest with you, a lot more of that type of maybe the secondary level of apparel coming in. It's not Nike, it's not Adidas, it's not Under Armour, but you know, and that's again not to castigate Old Navy or the Gap. Yeah. I just don't think anybody ever goes to their distributor and says, "Hey, can I get that Gap shirt?"
Yeah, and I think really it's like we talk about a lot. By the way, I think that this is a good idea, and if they can execute on it, you know, ideas, we've said a million times, ideas are shit. It's all about execution. And so if they can execute this with stock, I think it's going to be a home run. Like, I really do. The more I kind of think about it, but if it becomes a challenge to get it, then it's just, then it's going to be tough.
And it's clear two products only. It's a pilot program. Smart. We are dipping our toe in the water. We have the rights to use their names in marketing, I'm assuming. Yeah. Let's see what happens. So I think it's great. I just wanted to talk about, again, we don't normally talk about things like that because it's kind of like yawn again. Who cares? They're entering the promo industry, blah, blah, blah. But I thought this one was interesting. Kirby, do you have a topic you'd like to discuss this beautiful morning?
Yeah, this will be a super quick one, but it's just a social media kind of
say
deal.
That.
Yeah.
And then it's long.
Well, we'll see. But I've seen this in the past, but I've seen it a lot here lately where people are making announcements on social media to let me know that they're going away from social media. So my question, I guess, is that good? Is it strange? Is it self-important? Is it totally appropriate to literally go on Facebook and say, I am going to be leaving Facebook? What say Bill?
Okay, let me wade into some prickly waters here, some chilly waters. Okay, if you're saying I'm leaving social media because I'm going to the moon for the next month and I won't have access, I don't have any issues with that at all, right? I don't. Yeah. I find most of the time when people say things like that, it tends to be self-aggrandizing and grandstanding, and I don't like it. I think it's just weird. I mean, it's kind of like, you can go work out at the gym every day and actually not share that on social media. You can actually take a break from social media and not share that either. And I tend to think it's ego driven. I think it feeds into, whenever social media was invented, I guess we can blame Zuckerberg for the modern social media. MySpace is a little bit different, but Facebook really did it. The genius behind Facebook is it really taps into all of our endorphins and all our insecurities all at the same time.
Yeah.
And so when you post something like that, generally I feel like someone's screaming for attention. And usually I worry about that person, to be very candid with you. It's like, why do you feel the need to tell people you're leaving?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a strange thing for me. Again, I think there's a lot of different motives behind it, but I'm talking about that specific motive. If I'm tired of Facebook, I'm tired of all the negativity, I'm leaving. You can go.
Yeah,
just go. And that, which I understand. I've taken breaks from social media. So have you.
Yeah.
I don't announce it. I just shut up.
Yeah. So it was funny. I think it just, as we say, always depends on the situation, but that was my initial reaction. I've seen it a bunch lately where I'm just like, oh, okay. Good for you. But on the other side, I was trying to think, I try and look at it from both perspectives. And the one thing I will say is that social media, Facebook, Messenger, all of those things have become such communication tools for many, if not most of us, that if all of a sudden you aren't replying, then I think it could be viewed as rude. And so the opposite side of that, and I'm doing it just for the sake of this discussion, because my initial reaction when I see that is, okay. But the one I saw recently was, he's like, literally, I'm leaving.
I'm done.
For good.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I'm taking a break or whatever. And so if you were looking for that person or whatever, it's weird now. It's weird when someone isn't on Facebook. It's weird when someone isn't engaging through social media, because that's become such the lens that we look at the world. And so the pushback I'd give myself is, hey, maybe they're just saying, look, man, if you're going to try and contact me, hit me up on my digits.
Yeah, usually, I mean, when I see announcements like that, and I have not seen what you've seen, so you've seen more than I have. I meet it with a collective yawn. Great, cool, and so, but I think Messenger, that's different than Facebook, right? So generally, you can have a Messenger account. And if you're using that as a communication vehicle, then you should tell the people you're communicating with, hey, I'm not using this platform anymore. Here's where you can reach me.
Yeah.
To me, that's different. It's like when you change your phone number, you text the people you text with most often.
Yeah.
And you tell them, hey, I got a new phone number. And then when people text you, maybe haven't texted in years, and they act like they know you, you just like, new phone, who dis, whatever. So I don't know. I generally think it's mostly grandstanding, but you never know what's in people's hearts and minds. So that's my politically correct answer to the question, Kirby. Love it. All right, Kirby. Let's do some branding rights talk, Kirby. Okay. I don't know. Big business, very big business. Companies attaching their brand. The big one is obviously stadiums. Right? We've known that. Right. There's AT&T Stadium for the Dallas Cowboys and Progressive Field for the new Cleveland Guardians, no longer the Indians, all that. So a music center in Los Angeles has sold the naming rights in a fundraising move to their bathrooms. So if you'd like to use the loo at the Los Angeles Music Center, you can use the Lefton family restrooms, because the Lefton family provided a grant for that. Now, well, like I said, we know about the stadiums, but this is a trend that's really starting to take hold elsewhere. The Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority changed the name of Philadelphia's Patterson Avenue subway station to AT&T Station. So this is starting to really filter down into our daily lives, right? It's not just Minute Maid Park or anything like that.
Right.
It's all these things. So is the branding society. So as companies try to cut through the din and noise of their target audience and the competitors, is this a good thing? Is it a necessary thing? Is it a bad thing?
From a culture perspective or from a branding perspective?
Let's go both.
Okay. From a culture perspective, I think the horse is out of the barn, right? Like, so I don't know that I love it, if I'm being honest, that you're naming a subway station. You have naming rights for that. But at the end of the day, I think it's an is. People are doing it now. From a branding perspective, I think it makes a ton of sense. And I think that's why I think the horse is out of the barn. Now, I will say the idea of giving naming rights to the bathrooms is freaking genius. Oh, I love it. I love it really with all of my being. Like the idea of naming a subway station, I don't know. I get it, because it's like, if you're looking for constant branding, it's top of mind every single day for those who use it. But I think that's hilarious. And so the idea that, you're going to have that same traffic, and obviously people are going to have to use the restroom, but depending on the brand, I think it's funny. And so that one made me laugh.
It doesn't bother me so much. It's just, I don't think I'd want my name attached to the facilities and that type of environment, just personally.
Dude, if it's poopery, are you kidding me? That's genius.
That's different. I'm talking about my family, and this is the Lefton family restrooms.
It depends on the brand, but it could be fun,
right? I guess I wouldn't want to be part of the Lefton family and be at the music center and hear everybody saying, instead of I got to go to the loo, I got to go to the left. So that's just my opinion. All right, but it got me thinking, Kirby.
Okay.
Got me thinking, because I agree with everything you said. It's an is. Yeah. If someone came to this podcast and I want to buy podcast naming rights for 2 or 3 years, you better bet your sweet bippy this would be the Bud Light promo upfront podcast or whatever. That I agree with you. We're seeing patches on uniforms now in pro sports, as opposed to, everything's going to be sponsored. So it's kind of the idiocracy of our society. And if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. It's not a documentary, I promise. Although it damn well could be. But it got me thinking.
Okay.
You live in a very small town of about 10,000 people. I think that's actually in the county. 30,000 in the county, 10,000 in Coshocton. See, I do listen.
Yep.
And it got me thinking, what would you be comfortable sponsoring? So I'm going to give you a couple either ors here. What you would be comfortable sponsoring in your hometown, like the birthplace of promotional marketing, Coshocton. Yeah. I'll tell you exactly how it would be named.
Okay.
And it's an either or. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a quick, fun game here.
Okay.
Kirby Field at Triple Locks Park.
Okay.
Or Amy Point at Gospel Hill Lighthouse.
Ooh, that's a good. It would be an honor either way. I think I would go with probably Amy Point, just because the Gospel Hill Lighthouse is such a unique thing, and so it's a part of the tourism. Yeah.
Cool. The KHO, the Kirby Hossman Omelet, the KHO at the hospital, or the Hossman waiting area at Sorrel's on the Square.
Ooh, I'll go with it's Sorrel's. But yes, I'm just telling you, I would go with the waiting area there, because it's a great restaurant, really close to our office. Yeah.
Right. No, and I did my research.
I see that.
The pronunciation. So thank you for correcting me. Sorrel's on the Square. Yeah. All right, Kirby, 2 more. The Monday Minute presents Roscoe Village, or the Delivering Marketing Joy Troop Train Memorial.
Oh, I definitely go with Roscoe Village. That's the number one tourist destination in our area. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now these are different ones. These are actual places and things that don't exist. But Kirby, you have to sponsor one. The Hossman Marketing Jasper Meek Memorial Park, which should exist, does not. Jasper Meek, for anybody who doesn't know, is credited with inventing the first promotional product. I believe it was a bag for kids to carry their books to and from school. Is that correct, Kirby?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. So the Hossman Marketing Jasper Meek Memorial Park, or the Kirby Hossman Content Creator Award, Pyramid Award for PPAI.
Oh man, those would be amazing. But I would go with the Jasper Meek Park. I think that's something that probably should exist, and so I think that would be an honor.
All right, that was it. Just a couple little fun ones there. So I thought really things you might want to sponsor. Since I mean, you are so, and I say this lovingly, you are so part of Coshocton. And I don't think people, like I said, I've visited you there many times. Don't think people realize the good work you and your family do there. And so if any human is going to be honored with some sort of park or part of a place, it should be Bill Petrie. But since it's not, it should be Kirby Hossman. No, I'll be
Jasper Meek.
That's right. Jack for me. No, but seriously, you do such great things there, and you just shared a great video of the great work Amy is really spearheading in your downtown revitalization. So kudos to you. If anybody hasn't seen that, take a few minutes and look at that. I like to give Kirby a hard time on this podcast, but love him and his family with all my heart. And really, that's some great stuff in a world where things are just negative. That guy is a positive. All right, Kirby, what's our next topic?
Well, that sort of made my day. Thanks, man.
You bet.
So I'm going to go with Wired cutting the $5.99 per month subscription. So like subscription,
Wired magazine, right?
Yeah. So there's a ton of monthly subscriptions, and that's sort of what this topic's about. And 35% of Americans have canceled a monthly subscription in the past 6 months. 35% of Americans, I will say it again, have canceled a monthly subscription in the past 6 months due to inflation. So Netflix, as we record this yesterday, what was it? A $50 bajillion decrease in stock value. I read it this morning because that they lost users when they thought, investors thought they'd gain users.
Yeah, they lost, I think, 200,000 in the first quarter, and they expect that to be in the millions in the second quarter,
which is just cuckoo town. So we can talk about that if you want, but I think the question I guess I have is, so many people are looking to build their business based on the subscription model, and I think that makes a ton of sense, or it has in the past. My question is, have we hit the subscription fatigue? Have we jumped the shark on subscriptions, or is this just a bump in the road where people will get back into it? Because right now, 35% of Americans, that is a crazy number, have cut some. So what say you, Bill? Do you think we've jumped the shark, or is this just a blip?
We've jumped the shark.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to talk more? Okay. So here's the problem. We all love the subscription service, and the genius behind the subscription service is it removes you from your money.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You don't have to write a check. You don't have to mail anything in. You just tie it to a piece of plastic with 16 digits on it, and magically you get your candy.
Yep.
Every month. And I think what's happening, a couple things. One is the creators of the subscription model in entertainment. We're really talking about entertainment here, not really anywhere else, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
For purposes of this conversation. They haven't found a way to, because they're just giving you digital assets, they haven't figured out a way to block password sharing. I think that's what that's a big problem. And so I know that's what Netflix is blaming it on. I think Netflix really has an issue because they're spending so much money creating content, and there's so much competition out there. I have a list, Kirby, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I have a list that's probably 40 deep of shows I'd like to watch, and I haven't gotten to them. I just haven't gotten to them. There's so much good content being put out there. So I wonder, I have Hulu, I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime, I have Paramount Plus, I have all these things. It's like, I just don't have time. And when I'm, so I think I think we have kind of gotten tired of the subscription model, because all of a sudden you see these charges just bounce out of your account. I think the real challenge, though, is the fatigue and also the password sharing. So I think it's an interesting move by Wired Magazine. Are they just going to have, instead of subscriber-based income, are they just going to have ad-based income? Because I think that's what's going to end up happening. Right. We got away from television. And I know you're asking about a magazine, but it did.
No, actually Wired was just like the headline,
the catalyst.
Yeah. So, but and Netflix, by the way, has announced that they're looking at adding ads. As of today, they sort of made that announcement. So to your point, back to what you were saying there, is that I think that's an interesting move as well.
I think they're going to have to. Because we used to, when we first started, the global we started streaming, the best part is I can just put on a show. It's maybe 10 episodes. I don't have to touch the remote unless I want to pause it. It's fabulous. It's wonderful.
Right
now, it's going to go the other way. It's going to be and they keep raising their fees. I think that's the other thing people get frustrated by. I meant to say that earlier, and it kind of went into a whirly birded. But I think you keep raising your fees. So it started off as, hey, this is half the price of what I was paying for DirecTV, and I get all the access to all I want. Now it's about the same price. And it's like every time I turn around, well, we have a modest increase of $2 per year. And it's so small, you're like, all right. It's never this big number that makes you go, I need to look at buy a couch.
Yeah.
It's always these little things. So I think they're going to have to start adding forced advertising where you can't fast forward. And they do have the technology to do that, where they may not be able to prevent password sharing very well. They absolutely will be able to force ads down your throat. And I think that's the next move. So as we all got real used to not having commercials on our TV, get used to it.
I think that's really interesting because, I think the challenge is they took a frictionless thing, it was very easy for us. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're going to, every time they add price, it adds friction, right? You're like, well, wait a second, let me look at this. And it feels like people are doing it all the time. So then once more and more do, you start to look at it a little closer. I think that adding ads, though, from a profitability perspective, you might say is a necessity. I think it's going to be a really interesting mistake to me, because like, it's the thing, like when you sold me this, it was because of this, and this. And if you're going to take away all those things, well, then I'm going to say, screw it and not do it at all. And so I think that that's a really big risk.
I do too. And I think what they're going to do is go to what a couple of the other streaming services have gone to. You can get Discovery Plus, for example, which we do have. You can get Discovery Plus, I think, for $6.99 a month with ads. You can get it for $10.99 a month without. I think you're going to see that chasm widen. So I think it's going to be like, here's your flat rate. You want ads on your Netflix, and you want a cheaper Netflix, same content, but you're just going to have to deal with ads. It's $10 a month. If you want it without ads, it's $30. So make people, or double 20, whatever it is, make people pay a premium if they want that. But then don't screw around with raising locking people's prices, or say you've joined, you're grandfathered in until eternity. Make there's a model there you could create, or maybe say every 2 years it's going up $1 in perpetuity. Build inflation. There's a model there that works so that people have a choice. And don't feel ripped off, because I agree with you. If all of a sudden the $19.99 or whatever it is I pay for Netflix, and all of a sudden they're forcing ads on me, that's going to cheese me off in a big bad way.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man.
All right. I don't think we have time for another topic, but you know what? That's okay, because I do have time to think about my favorite time of year, my absolute favorite time of year, and that would be the time we call summer. That's right. Warm weather. I only think about four things, Kirby. Warm weather, sitting out on that back 40, smoking meat and barbecue, beaches, and gosh darn it, patriotic pencils from our good pals at Shipenko. That's right. We've got the patriotic stars and stripes right here in my right hand. Got the American flag there, right? Beautiful. And then we've got the red, white, and blue, the patriotic red, white, and blue. It's got the gradient going from red, white to blue. Really great stuff. If you have any sort of community celebrations, any sort of community events, any historic sites or museums, great giveaways. People still love pencils, folks. Yes. They really, really do. And gosh darn it, as much as we hate those political ads, it is election season, and these are really great, cost-effective handouts for candidates for local and state offices. So think about that. And when you do think about our good pals at Shipenko, and when you place an order and use that code Shipenko22, they're going to hook your butt up. They're going to hook you up. Free goods, random samples, you name it. You want more details? Well, I think you got all the details you wanted from us, but if you need more details, email Alex Maltz, our good friend over there, alex@shipenko.com. He'll hook you up with some random samples. He'll talk about the free goods and help you make some money so you can pay for your Netflix